Well, so today we're going to start Shtei Parshashim Mezuzah on Daf Chaf Tes 29a. It's 8 lines from the bottom. Okay, thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. It's of our learning. We should have the base of English. It starts like this. Mishnah said a bunch of things that if you don't have one, then the other one is also not acceptable. Each one is ma'akiv. Each one is essential to the validity. So it says, Shtei Parshashim Mezuzah Makva Zuzu. Afilu Ksav Echad Makvan. You can't have a mezuzah with just one parsha, just with Shema or Bahayim Shemaya. That's not going to work. And even one letter would affect the validity of the mezuzah. The Gemara says pshita. That's obvious because it's based on the pasuk. The pasuk says, Rashi says uchsavtam, and we learn from the pasuk uchsavtam al mezuzah beisecha. Learn from that it needs to be ksiva tama uchsavtam. Tam is like perfect. It has to be written perfectly. You can't leave anything out. No, we're not talking about an actual letter. We're talking about that he wrote all the letters. But the kaitzer shel yud, Rashi says, is the little thing on the bottom, the leg of the yud on the right side, is a that's not that wouldn't have made a difference. The Mishnah says it does make a difference. Taisvis says that the Kaitzer Shel Yud, Rabbeinu Tam says that the Kaitzer Shel Yud, Mr. Moshe can tell me more about, is there's a little tiny leg on the left side. They make that line down from the top down. They go down a little bit further. It's a little on the left side of the Yud. It's called Kaitzer Shel Rabbeinu Tam, right?
Yeah,
Moshe?
that's it.
Then there's another opinion that the Kaitzer Shel Yud is that the Rosh's opinion? That it's the
Yeah,
top.
the top left, but usually the most opinion is the bottom left.
The bottom. Make a big deal about the Kaitzer Shel Rabbeinu Tam. That's this thesis over here, Kaitzer Shel Yud. Okay. The Rosh has a sefer in the back called Hilchas Ktanas La Rosh, in the back of Maseches Menachos. And in there, he has Hilchas Sefer Torah, Hilchas Tefillin, Mezuzah. The Gemara says, "V'anami pshita." What do you mean? If you're missing the Kaitzer Shel Yud according to Rashi, this is a great question. But it's obvious you're missing the letter. What are you just like think it's a circle, like a yud is a circle? No, it has to come down as a yud. You need rather it's something else. It's actually referring to something else. When the Mishnah said that even one letter or one ksav echad, even one writing affects the validity, that it's so essential. That's not referring to Rabbi Yehuda Marav. That's the Kaitzer Shel Yud. It's referring to something else that Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Rav, that kolay shein gvil mukaf me'aber cheseh psulais. If it's not mukaf gvil, if it's not surrounded by the white, every letter has to be black on white. If it doesn't have full white all around, when you take your picture of your check, the deposit, they to put it on a dark surface. So the dark needs to be on a white surface. It needs to be surrounded by gvil. Gvil means parchment. All right? So if it's not surrounded by parchment, so then that's going to be ma'akiv. And that we didn't say. That's it could be because the parchment has a hold. It could be because it's touching another letter. Rashi says it's touching another letter. Okay. Omar Ashian Bar Nadvach, Mishmeid Rabbi Yehuda. This is Zion over here. Omar Rav Ashian. Oh, instead of puzzle, it's supposed to be Psula. Omar Rav Ashian. I'm not sure what he's suggesting. Oh, it's Omar Rav Ashian instead of just Ashian. Omar Rav Ashian. He's adding in it. It's Rav Ashian. Rav Ashian Bar Nadvach says the name Rabbi Yehuda. Nikiv Teichesh Shel Hey Kasher. Several pshatim here. If the inside of the hay has a hole in it, then it's going to be kosher. Rashi says, "What's the teiche shel hay?" It means the left leg of the hay. This is first pshat. Second pshat is that if there's a hole in the inside of there's a gap. There's the open space inside the hay. If there's a hole in that open space, it's fine. It's kosher. What about the mukaf kbil?
Yeah, the hole can touch the letter itself. It's just in the space of the white, but it's not touching the black.
Uh-huh. So it's not affecting the halachas of mukaf
Yeah.
kbil. It's just that there's a hole in the middle of the open space. So and then with this two pshatim, does it mean in the leg? That's a big chiddush. Or does it mean just in the open space? That's less of a chiddush. I know where Rashi adds in, but tefillin kamairi, that we're dealing with tefillin. Why specifically tefillin? Maybe the same halacha should be mezuzah and sefer Torah. I don't know. Okay, Yerechai, but if there's a hole in the leg, that's a different story. Now the leg of the hay would mean the right leg of the hay, right? So that would be possible. Amar Rav Zera. Rav Zera says l'didim partially minei de Rav Huna. What was Rav Huna here? Oh, I heard explanation from Rav Huna. Rabbi Yaakov l'didim partially minei de Rav Yehuda. He says I heard an explanation from Rav Yehuda. This is Rav Zera and Rabbi Yaakov are saying what the pshat is here. Nikav teiche shel hay. What does it mean? The inside of the hay it's kosher. Yerechai, but if it's the leg of the hay that has the hole, im nishtaya by kashir eiskhtana kosher b'mlav pasal. There has to be at least a small letter left. If there's a hole, there has to be a small letter left of the hay. That it should be considered at least a letter, a hay. Rashi has speaking about Mordechai notes that this is puzzling, since identical halacha would apply to mezuzah sefer Torah. There are several approaches to this problem. See bricks, zeva. Okay, thank you. Thank you. It's always good when someone else asks your question. And you can say, okay, someone asked it. We can move on. So what's going on over here? We're saying that if there's a small letter left, that's going to be good. I guess even if it's not symmetrical, even if the whole Sefer Torah, the letters look differently, but over here, if it still has a letter, still the size of the letter is good. Agra Chamud Rababa. Agra was the father-in-law of Rababa. If Sikali Kara Dehei the Ha'am. This is in Vayemer Moshe El Ha'am Zachar. This is in Kaddish Li Kol B'char. The leg of the hay of the word Ha'am was cut. Maybe the bottom of it came off. Or no, ifsik wouldn't mean the bottom came off. Ifsik means that there's a line in the middle. Binakiva with a hole. There's a hole in it. I'm sorry, a scratch. It says there's a hole. Also, the comes to Rababa. Comes to Rababa. Who is this? This was Agra, the father-in-law of Rababa. So he comes to his son-in-law. Says Amalei. So Rababa told him, Mishtayer, Kashiris Ketana Kasher. If they still have a little letter left of the hay, that's going to be Kasher Imlav. Then it's going to be possible. Rami bar Tamri to Chamua the Rami bar Dekuli. They take out the word Chamua. They say Rami bar Tamri. He is Rami bar Dekuli. You get what's going on over there? Tamri means dates. Dekuli is a date palm. So this is like a lahavdil. It's like Bob or William. It's like the same name. So he could be Rami bar Tamri. He could be Rami bar Dekuli. He's the son of a date or son of a palm. Which is the same tree. The sikali kara devav the vayareg benikva is the vav in the word vayareg had a hole in it. Had a hole. In Kaddish called Bchar. Vayareg. So what's the Yud Aleph there? So Parshas Vayakiv Yacha. Supposed to be Vayakiv Yacha. It's interesting. I never said that, but it's fine. Anyway, what happens is also comes to Reb Zera. Still, I see a nuka tipish. Bring a child that's not too smart, not too weak, not too foolish. I guess tipish, silly. Ikarele vayarig kashrei, then yaharigu upasal. Then what if he can't read it as vayarig? Instead, he reads it as yaharig. Then it's going to be puzzle. So this here we're introduced to a way of checking letters, but we only do this if we're looking at size. We only do this if we're looking at size. Yeah. So far, at least that's what we see. Ramesh, am I correct? Would you do this if a letter is like misshapen, or it's only for size? The vav is long enough, or
The vibe, it's primarily about the length. But it should look like a tsuras yud.
Uh-huh. So it's about the length of a letter. Then you come and look at it. Okay. I think sometimes they call people to a Sefer Torah. They say if the words are put in a funny position where maybe you can't tell if the vav is going on the next word, if it's going on this word. Sometimes I think they'll ask a child to come in. I'm not sure if that's really the way that you do that.
I've never seen that. You have to have kimlo ois yud ktana. It's
No, but
between the words.
If there's a no, but if there's a question because it's not, you don't know which word this vav is going on. Is it a u at the end of a word, or is it a v at the beginning of the next word, or something?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You're talking about the spacing between the words.
Spacing, right? So that's not a child question, is it?
No, I've never heard that. No.
Yes, I thought I saw that once, and I think they were making a mistake. Okay.
All right.
Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav. This is a little treat. Got a famous Agartha. Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav, when Moshe went up to heaven, I guess he's getting the Sefer Torah. It's one of the times that he was up for. He was up for a few times. 3 times, Rashi says. Sees that Hashem is fixing up the letters. He's making crowns on the top. You know what you do after you're finished. You're still like editing a little bit, touching up, putting crowns on the letters. Amal Fanav says in front of Hashem, Rabbeinu Shlalem, who's gonna like check up on you, that you have to make sure that it's perfect like this, that you're adding these crowns. Amalai, he says, no, I'm making it perfect because Adam Echad Yeshas Eliyas B'Seif Kamadeiros is going to become a person that's going to come after many generations. Akiva ben Yosef Shmai, his name is Akiva ben Yosef. Just literally shall call kites for kites, tilim shalachas. On each one of these crowns I'm making, he's going to have piles, mounds of halachas. Let me see him. Go back, go through the back over there is the time warp. Go through step back and you'll see him. He goes and we skipped the whole how he travels through the time, and he sits in the back of 8 rows. Now let me see what the gimel is. 10. Some say 10 rows. This is a famous I got it. He didn't know what they were talking about. They were learning. He didn't even understand what they're saying. What is it? What are they saying? Tashush Kaichi starts to feel very weak. He doesn't. He can't keep up with the shir. Even Shkiel Davarecha, and he came to one spot. Amalai, let's see what that is. Like Kim Shkiel Davar. Amalai Talmid of the students tell to Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi Minaylach, how do you know this? Amalahen, he says Halach l'Moshe Misinai. This is teaching that we received from Moshe. Now Rashi says that Moshe didn't hear it yet. You see, in the next Rashi, the Siyashva Daite, so Moshe was settled. He felt good. He heard that that it's going to come from him. He felt better. So Rashi says in the Siyashva Daite, Because he said it in his name, even though he didn't receive it yet. So I mean, the simple reading of this is that Moshe at this point didn't know the things that Rabbi Akiva knew, but he felt better because he was going to learn it later, because he said it in his name. So he says, "Okay, I'll get there." He felt better. It's going to come. He's going to get there. He didn't learn it yet, but he's going to get there. Yeah. He comes back. He returns to up in heaven. He comes to Kadosh Baruch Hu, to Hashem. Using me to give the Torah. You could give it through Rabbi Akiva. Why are you using me? So Hashem tells him, you be quiet. That's the way it came to my mind. Yeah. It's a lot of lessons from everything here, but okay. He showed me his Torah, show me his reward. He says, go back again. Go through that the time thing, and you'll see. He goes back. He sees that they're weighing his meat in the marketplace. Now, because the way Rabbi Akiva was killed was they raked his body with iron rakes, so the flesh came off. Says, this is the Torah, this is its reward. Be quiet. This is what came into my mind. Okay. I think Reb Naftali, the secular world is always saying that the rabbis, they created these extra halachas. It's not in the Torah. And the secular world is very into saying that the rabbis did a lot of innovations, and they don't accept that. So this story sort of lends to that. It says, look, even Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know what Rabbi Akiva knows, right? That's what it lends to. It lends that, but it's really exactly the opposite. The fact that Chazal are telling it to us means that the Chazal have no fear that this is going to be a claim that people are going to say that Rabbi Akiva made it. Chazal tell us the story. It's the confidence of Chazal that everything comes from Moshe. That's why they're telling it to us. That everything comes from Moshe. It's halach l'Moshe Misina. Each of these. Okay. Amar Rava. Rava says Shiva Isis Chicha Shleisha Ziyunim. The seven letters that need 3 Zions. Be'elohein. The letters are Shatnez Getz, right? Moshe, the famous Shatnez Getz. These are the 7 letters. That's Shatnez Getz is a Rosh Tevis for Shin, Ayin, Tes, Nun, Zayin, Gimel, and Tzadik. Where does it say that? Rashi adds in V'hu Adin L'Tzadik Kufa. Sorry?
And no, then there's Bedek Chaya. That's for the 1.
No, tell me again.
Shatnez Getz is the 3.
Bedek
Chaya is for the 1.
It's for the 1. Bedek Chaya. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I didn't see that in the Gemara. That must be from the Rishonim, from the Gaonim.
Yeah, sure, but that's the letters.
Amazing. So Rashi adds in that the Gimel Tzadik, the Tzadik of the is a N Tzadik. Rashi adds in the same thing would be for a bent Tzadik. Basically the Tzadik is a letter like this. The Tzadik has a letter with a little piece sticking up, right? There's a little piece sticking up. But then the long Tzadik just goes straight down, and the Tzadik that's not the long Tzadik, the bottom of it flips up. It's called Kufa. It's bent. You take the leg and you bend it. So Rashi says the same thing applies to that. And also the Nun that in Shatnez is a Nun kfufa because the bottom is bent. But the same would be a nun pshuta. Same would be if the letter's bent down, which means we call it an enda nun, or a langa nun, right?
Rabbi Smith,
Yeah.
can you hear me? I don't know why. This, um, in the literature, there's reference to a minimalist position and a maximalist position about what comes from the Rabbanim. One
Uh-huh.
position holds that absolutely nothing has been done by the Rabbanim that was already known by Moshe. There's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
The other position, of course, is the opposite, that the Rabbanim had more or less free room to move around.
Right.
Most commentaries say, well, neither is correct.
Uh-huh. Right. I think they want to say that the rules like the frame was there from tradition, Moshe Rabbeinu, and then in that frame there's could be like this, it could be like that, some wiggle room.
Maybe it's saying the same thing. What a lot of it says is that there are Torah values,
Uh-huh.
and the rabbinic innovations are there to preserve Torah values, not to change
Right.
the Torah, but to preserve the values.
Right.
Maybe it's saying the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember that book, the Oral Law? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah, wonderful book.
It's a good book. Yeah, but did they make it, or is it all tradition? That's the yeah. Anyway, do you know the Ramban? The Ramban has this opinion. He says that the sages are only interpreting the psukim, and when it says leisaser min hadavar, that don't stray from the path from anything that the sages say, which it says in the Torah, you have to follow. That's only an interpretation of the psukim. However, if the sages make a takana, so he says that doesn't go under the prohibition of do not stray from of leisaser. Doesn't go into that. So it comes out as according to the Ramban, you don't have a biblical law, a Torah law that's compelling you to follow takanas. See, according to the Rambam, the other opinions, yeah, you have a Torah law to follow what the sages say. Like sasamin adavar shegilu. The Ramban sort of limits that. It's not on everything. The Ramban in the Sefer HaMitzvahs, yes. Anyway, so yeah, my father-in-law one time explained it to me like this. He says, "Look, you go to a doctor. You don't have to listen to the doctor. It's just that he's right, but you don't have to. You're not like compelled to listen. That's the fact. The fact is that that's like the Ramban's pshat in the Rabbanan's Takana. It says that the Eibishter doesn't in Leisas it doesn't say that you have to listen, but the fact is that's the correct. Anyway, Amar Rava. So we said shatnez gets okay. Yeah, I'm not talking about the mistake final. Okay, now I just want to point out that in the shatnez gets, if you look at the pictures in Taisvus, you have a traditional Gemara. So there's one opinion that the three Zions that go on these letters, you see the first one? There's one on the right, one on the left, and one going down. Then there's another opinion that has them three at the same, just going up, just like very, straight lines. And then there's another one that has them like spread out, like the way you would imagine a crown. Okay. He mentions the Shimush Rabbah writes that Tat of Taitafais has three each. Has Shatnez, right? The Tes has Zion. And he says, Rabbi Natam writes that that's a mistake. Yeah, I don't know any more about that, but anyway, Ramesh, if you have any comments, feel free to enlighten us. Amar Ravashi.
No, just basically there are other taggings Obviously, when we write Alter Rebbe, that we put on certain other letters with Toitafos, that's where it actually you start putting on not just on the left side of the test, you put it on the right side of the test as well
Oh, wow.
to add up to those numbers. Yeah, so that's all up Kabbalah, whatever. But yeah, that's what it's
Wow.
referring to.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. So, Amar Ravashi, Chazinu L'Sifri Dav Kani. Now you take out the words to Bei Rav. Ravashi says, I saw in accurate Sifri Torah, the Chachi Luhu Legage the Ches, the Talul the Kari the Hay. I saw that Chatre is like a hump. That they make a hump, this is one shot, on the top of a Ches. Now, really, a Ches could be a Vav and a Zion or two Zions. I forget the Svardik and not the Svardik writing, it's just a line.
No, it's Arizal and Beis Yosef. Arizal is Vav is in his eye.
Arizal is Vav and a Zion. So the first one is a Vav, and the second one is a Zion. The Zion is a flag, right? It's like a two. And so the top would have, it goes up. If you look in Taisvus, you see like two Zions. So that would be the Beis Yosef's letter, right? That would be the two Zions with the hump on the top. And then Rabbeinu Tam doesn't. It says over here, Rabbeinu Tam doesn't do it like that. Rabbeinu Tam says that you just make a. No, I'm sorry, that's not Rabbeinu Tam. But Kuntrus says that you just make a line across. So I don't know what you would do otherwise. What's like Ravashi saying that I saw this chiddush. What else? How else are you going to have a ches? How do they explain Rashi? No, that's the hay. That's the hay. Let's go back. Rashi for a cane. Chatre, according to Rashi, is a cane. According to Rashi, ches is like a regular printed ches. According to Rabbeinu Tam, chatre comes from the word chatarta, which is a camel's hump. Two taichin in the word. This is a grammar question. What does the word chatre mean? Does it mean a cane? Like a chutra is like a stick or a cane? Or does it mean chate teres? It doesn't mean the hump. So anyway, and also the left side of the hay is hanging. It doesn't go all the way up. He saw this. Ravashi saw this in exact in precise Sifrei Torah. That's for Telecardé. The roof of the ches has that hump. Kalaymar chayhu berumish alaylam. Abish lives in the height of the world. The hay is hanging. This, in order to understand what's going on with the hay, you have to follow this question that Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya asked Rabami. It says, "My diksiv." What's the meaning of the pasuk? Bitchu b'Hashem ad yad, ki b'ka Hashem tzreilam. Trust in Hashem forever, because in the Yud-Kei, ki b'ka Hashem, because with ka Hashem tzreilam he formed the world. What's the meaning of this pasuk? Amalei kalatela b'tchenim b'Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Anyone that hangs his trust, that depends his trust in Hashem, harei le'mechse b'elam hazeh le'elam haba. He's going to have protection in this world and in the next world. Amalei, so he responds back. This is Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya. No, I had a different specific question. Why does it say Bika Hashem Tzreilam, not Ka? Bika means in or with Hashem, with the Yud-Kei. Should say because Hashem is the forms worlds, not with Hashem forms worlds. He says, "Kedidarash Rabbi Yehuda bar Rabbi Lai." Rabbi Yehuda bar Rabbi Lai explain this. He says, "Elu shnei olam shebar Kadosh Baruch Hu." Hashem created two worlds. There's multiverse. There's two worlds going on. Echad hey, echad biyud. One of the worlds he created with the hey, and one he created with the yud. Ve'ni yedei ma'ila ma'ba biyud, va'ila ma'zeh b'hei, and ma'ila ma'zeh biyud, va'ila ma'ba b'hei. I don't know which world one world was created with the yud, one was created with the hey. I don't know which one it is. This world or the next world. However, we have a pasuk that says, this is the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created. Don't say that when they were created, rather with the hay they were created. Bihi baram. With the hay they were created. So this teaches us this world was created with the hay. The next world is created with the yud. I think it says that the hay is referring to the breath, which is Sarah Mamaris. Every letter, every speech starts with the hey. There has to be the simple breath that's behind every letter. The hey is the why was it created with the hay? What's this teaching us? Because it's similar to a front room. Chsadra is a portico, right? Portico, like like an open area that has columns on one side. What is it? Pavilion. Over here, they're going to say a Florida room. It's open. If you want, you could leave. If you want, you could leave. What does it mean? You leave? You leave means you can do evil and you can drop out of the go off the derech. That's not off the derech. It's down fall down the drain. My time matalikari. So why is the leg hanging? Why is it not? Because if he wants to do tshuva, he can come through the top, can make his way back in. Why doesn't he just come back through the bottom? It says so that you can't do. That's too hard. You need extra help. Kid Reish Lakish, like Reish Lakish says, Reish Lakish, what's the meaning of the pasuk? If he's a scoffer, so he'll scoff, and if he's a humble, he'll get favor, he'll get grace. Abolatar Messiah, I say. If someone comes to purify, comes to be pure, so they help him along. Bolatame, if he comes to do evil, they help him along also. He gets whatever path he's on, he gets support. So they give him extra support to be able to make his way back in tshuva. He has his own entrance. He doesn't have to walk through the way that to go back with all the things that he did before. And just jump back in. My time is taga. Why is there a tag? Oh, this is a tag on the hay. So, Ramesha, what was the expression? Bedek. What was the
Bedek Chaya.
Chaya.
Right.
Chaya. This is probably a source for that. But if you don't say, 1 second. Keser katan b'seif kagay de hay. It says there's a little keser at the end of the hay.
Right. Well, it gets a little bit complicated there because some say it's just the oketz on the far left, and some say there's that oketz plus a tag in addition. It's different. Yeah.
So the way that you make the
we do both.
Yeah, the way that you start a letter when you're making using a quill. So in order for it to come in a block, a square, you sort of have to make an outline. You start with a line going down.
Right.
Then the ink holds itself to that line. It fills in.
So that's
that line. They make it drop bigger.
Right.
It sticks up. That would be that's what the Gemara is talking about. They let it stick up a little bit. And why? What's the reason for that? It says, Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, Im chayzer b'yani kaisha lekesher. If someone does tshuva, if someone returns, I'll make him a crown right over there, right where he comes back in. I'll make him a crown. Why was Eilam Haba created with the yud? Because it's so small. There's not a lot of people in Eilam Haba. The tzaddikim that are there are small, like the yud. Why is its head bent? The yud, I guess it means that it's like a little bend. Because I guess this is to Avoid jealousy, because everyone has like special qualities that their friend doesn't have. So they don't. In order not to be disturbed by the greatness that everyone else has, they look down. That's not jealousy. Bias. Rashi says misbias. They shouldn't be ashamed that they don't have what their friend has or something. They look down. I would have said differently. I would have said because they're humble. Anyway, Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says, "Hani tarti mili Rav bisfarm." Rav's taught two halachas regarding Sefer Torah. One of them will say here, and one of them will say on the next page, top of the next page. So the first one is Vitanya Tiyufta, and there's also a question. One of the halachas that Rav says, Hadam Rav, this that Rav said, Sefer Torah sheish b'shtei tois b'chol daf, the daf yisakin. If the Sefer Torah has two mistakes, we're going to see in a moment that the mistakes means that it's missing a letter. You have to add it in. These are called chaseris v'yaseris. Some words can have some vowels come along with the letter. Some vowels you can just make a dot and you don't need the letter there, like a chaylam malay or something, or a chaylam chaser, a chiruk malay, chiruk chaser. It comes with the yod, it comes with the vav.
Yeah, yesterday I was doing a Sefer Torah, and I found the Sefer wrote Liminei Hem, Bereshis right at the beginning, and it was supposed to be Liminei Hu. He wrote a
Oh,
Mem
really?
Sefer instead of a Vav.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, don't know how
How
it's
did
that.
how did you even catch
Don't know
that? You know it
because
by heart.
when I'm well, I kind of know a lot, but when you read it, these things automatically have to make sense.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was on time reading from a Megillah, and I caught a mistake because it says Pnei Haman Chafu, and then another one says Pnei Haman Chafui. One is with a vav, one's with a vav yud, and both of them had the vav yud on it. And something's something's wrong. I don't remember that, so I checked it up afterwards.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, I
um,
have stories. When you're ready to hear good stories about letters, I have a lot to tell.
okay. So any Sefer Torah that has two mistakes on every page and every column, Yisakin, you can fix it. Shalish, but if there's three mistakes, you put it in, you store it away. That means Sheamus. Tanya Tiyufta, but there's a problem because there's a contradiction. It says Shalish Yisakin Arba Yiganis. If it has three mistakes, you can fix it, and four you have to put it away. Tana, and it was taught in a brayse, if you have one that's perfect, one page that's perfect, so then the Sefer Torah could be saved because of that one page. You can go back and fix them all, even though they have four. Which at that point you say, okay, it goes into Shemus, but because one column is still good, that saves the whole thing. Amar Rav Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Martim Shmidu Rav. Rav Yitzchak, the son of Shmuel, the son of Marta, says in the name of Rav, V'hu d'ksiv rubi d'sifra shaper. That's if the majority of the Sefer Torah was written good. What is he referring to? Matzelas al Kulei? That? What do they comment on this? Ooh, properly. Only in this case does one complete column save the entire scroll, 45. This means that most of each column is written properly. That is, there are not more than 5 or 6 mistakes in every column. Okay, excellent. That means even though there's 4, but not more than that. Then one column will save it. Not if it's full of mistakes. Why didn't I see that over here? It's funny, I don't see that Rashi. Oh, Hani Mili. No. Okay, now it says like this. Amalei Abayel Rav Yosef. Abai asked Rav Yosef, Yisbahu daf shalish tois mai. This is a very interesting question. It says like this, that if there's 4 mistakes on every column, it has to go into Shemus. You don't fix it anymore. If there's 1 column there that's perfect, then you could go back and fix all of them. That saves the whole Sefer Torah. So comes along Abaya, says, let's say on the 1 column that's perfect, it's actually not perfect. There's 3 mistakes in it. Of 3 mistakes, we said you could fix 3 mistakes. So do we say that there's 4 mistakes on every other column, so you can't fix it? Oh, but I have this 1 column, but this column doesn't have 4 mistakes, so then you can fix it. Or do we say no? That's only if that column was perfect. But here, this column itself has mistakes, so you shouldn't be fixing it in Bechlal. So Amalei. So Rav Yosef responds, no, because it only has 3 mistakes, you could fix it. And then once you fix that, then now it's perfect. And now it's perfect. Now you fix the rest. Right? When you offer a finger, they take a hand. Right? You can fix those 3, and then you can fix the whole thing. That's only if it's missing. But when it comes to additional letters, there's no problem because you can always erase. Chaseris, my time alloy. What's the problem with chaseris? When you're going to have to add when it's missing letters, because I'm Rav Kana Mishon the Mexican maneuver, because it's going to look like a leopard. It's going to look blotched, and you have to add in putting it letters up, and letters out. It's going to look blotched. Mess up the spacing. Agra Chamud Rababa. We had him before. He likes the bottom line of the pages. Agra Chamud now. He's on the bottom of the page before as well. Bottom line. He had extra letters in his Sefer Torah. He comes to Rababa, his son-in-law. Amalei. So Rababa says, that's only if it's missing letters. But you have your extra letters. There's no problem with that. Idach. What's the other case of Rav? It says like this. Rav says a case of Sefer Torah. So when they write the Sefer Torah about Ligmar, he wants to finish it. Goimer. You could finish the Sefer Torah even in the middle of the page, right? You don't have to go to the bottom of the page. You can finish in the middle. Meisvei, the Gemara says, 1 second. A case of Sefer Torah about Ligmar. If what you need to do is to make it, you have to get to the bottom of the page. If you don't have enough words, so you start to make the column shorter. You make it look like a fancy book where it finishes shorter. There's a picture in Rashi. Just make it come down to like a cone shape, and then at the end you'll that way you can get to the bottom of the page. You told me before that you're allowed to finish in the middle of the page. Here you're saying you have to get to the bottom. Gemara answers, when did Rav say that you're allowed to finish in the middle of the page? That's talking about not a real Sefer Torah. That's talking about Chumashim. Chumash. That means they're just scrolls of the 5 Chumashim. Because they would use it for studying, but not a full Sefer Torah. What's about Sefer Torah Kamar? What do you mean? It's talking about Chumashim. Rav said a case of Sefer Torah. He didn't say Chumashim. There's no B'Chumashim shall Sefer Torah. Within the Sefer Torah, not the end of Ezayis Bracha, but the end of Sefer Bereishis, Parshas Vayechi, the end of Shmais, right? The end of those you can finish in the middle of the page. Eini, is that so? I'm Reb Shua Barabba. Amar Rav Gidl, Amar Rav. La'eni Kol Yisrael be'emtza hadaf. It says that you can put Eini Kol Yisrael in the middle of the page. It says Hu be'emtza shita. That doesn't mean in middle of. There's 2 middles. There's the middle from top to bottom, put in the middle. Then there's in middle of the column. Means you don't finish at the end of the line. You finish in the middle of the line. You don't have to take it to the end of the line. So that's what it means. You can finish in the middle of the line. Itmar. Rabbanan Amri, the Rabbanan say af be'emtza shita. That you can finish in the middle of the line. Rav Ashi Amar be'emtza shita dafka. Oh, Rabbanan Amri af be'emtza shita. That even in the middle of the line, that means you can also finish in the middle of the page. But you can also finish in the middle. Both of those are acceptable. But Rav Ashi says no. Be'emtza shita dafka. In the middle of the line, yes. In the middle of the page, no. Be'ilchasa be'emtza shita dafka. Allah is specifically in the middle of the line, but not in the middle of the page. Okay, the next sugya. about the last 8 letters, last 8 psukim. You continued.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay,
Okay.
good stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Safe travels.